What if the entire universe was waiting on you? Not metaphorically, literally. What if your very presence was essential not just to your life, but to the fabric of reality itself? Imagine this: you wake up one morning and realize that you're not just a tiny speck in an indifferent cosmos. You're not merely a bystander in some mechanical universe ticking along by Newtonian laws. You are in a very real and profound way a participant, even a co-creator. This idea might sound far-fetched at first. After all, the traditional Newtonian worldview, the one most of us grew up learning, tells us that the universe is a giant machine. Everything is made of separate parts governed by rigid laws: gravity, thermodynamics, motion. In this view, we are isolated entities, physical beings moving through a lifeless, indifferent expanse of space. But what if that view is outdated? Enter quantum physics, a mysterious, counterintuitive field that's turned our understanding of the universe on its head. Unlike classical physics, quantum mechanics doesn't see the world as a set of isolated billiard balls bouncing around. Instead, it speaks of entanglement of particles influencing one another across vast distances, and most intriguingly, of the observer playing a crucial role in shaping reality. And what's even more fascinating, these seemingly revolutionary insights aren't new. Not really. They echo teachings that are thousands of years old. Let's go back to antiquity, to Hermes Trismegistus, the legendary sage and mystic. He wrote, "As above, so below, as below, so above." This deceptively simple phrase holds deep metaphysical significance. It implies that the universe is reflective, a mirror. What exists on one plane of reality is mirrored on another. Our physical world is not a standalone creation, but a projection, a reflection, like a hologram, shaped by what we think, feel, and believe. Now pause for a second. Think of that. A holographic universe. One where reality is not static, not fixed, but responsive, reactive, personal. Quantum physics supports this. It whispers that reality might not be out there at all, but instead it may emerge from consciousness itself. The observer doesn't just witness the universe, the observer shapes it. This brings us to the idea of infinite timelines, the multiverse, a mind-bending concept that suggests that every possible version of your life already exists. Every choice you could have made, every path you might have taken is real somewhere, in some dimension. Neville Goddard, a modern mystic and teacher of mental science, believed that our fourth-dimensional self, a part of us beyond time, is the source of our third-dimensional experiences. He encouraged people to think fourth-dimensionally. That is, to imagine beyond time, to assume that their desired outcome is already real, already true. In his words, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and observe the route that your attention follows. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a neuroscientist and researcher in the field of consciousness and quantum physics, echoes this idea. He speaks of the quantum field, a realm of infinite potential where every version of you already exists, not just metaphorically, but energetically, experientially. Everything you could become already exists in this invisible sea of possibilities. This field, this all as Hermes called it, is a mirror reflecting your inner world outward. So here's the question: what determines which timeline you land on, out of the infinite paths stretching forward from this very moment? Why are you living this particular one? The answer lies not in fate, not in randomness, but in you, your thoughts, your emotions, your state of being. These are the signals you broadcast into the quantum field, and the field, like a cosmic mirror, reflects those signals back. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. If you frown, it frowns. If you smile, it smiles. Simple, right? Now imagine that the universe is doing the exact same thing. It's responding to your inner state, your dominant beliefs, your emotional frequency, your expectations. It doesn't judge. It doesn't filter. It simply reflects. This is why Neville Goddard said everyone is free to create his world as he wants it if he knows that the whole thing is responding to him. The quantum field doesn't play favorites. It respects your freedom. It waits patiently, faithfully for your input. And when you change that input, everything begins to shift. Of course, in this three-dimensional world, things appear to unfold slowly, linearly. It may take time for what you project into the mirror to show up in your life. But the delay doesn't mean it's not working. Just like a seed planted in the soil, your new reality is growing invisibly at first before it bursts into form. That's why persistence matters. Consistency in your self-conception, who you believe you are, eventually bends the mirror. It compels the universe to align. But here's the twist. The mirror has no agenda. It doesn't interpret. It doesn't decide what's good or bad. It simply reflects what you believe to be true, Bishram. This is both terrifying and liberating because it means the universe is not punishing you. It's not testing you. It's showing you. It's reflecting you back to yourself. Now consider this, the all-God source. The quantum field is not a detached observer. It is you. It is experiencing life through you, with you as you. And it wants to know, what is it like to be you right now in this moment? But for the all to truly know what it's like to be you, it must forget it is all. It must limit itself. It must put on a mask of amnesia so that your experience is real, raw, and authentic. Think of it like a virtual reality game. To play the game fully, you have to forget that you're playing. You have to feel the danger, the emotion, the thrill. If you remembered it was all a simulation, the stakes would disappear and so would the experience. That's why life feels so real, so intense, so painful sometimes. Because it is real to the you who is experiencing it. This is why people ask, if God exists, why is there so much suffering? The answer is because God isn't out there controlling things from above. God the All is in here inside you, choosing to experience life through your eyes, your choices, your emotions. And through that experience, something sacred happens. The All expands, evolves, learns. You are not insignificant. You are the way through which the universe experiences itself. And every thought you think, every feeling you feel shapes the reflection in the mirror. If your inner world is chaotic, the mirror responds with chaos. If you bring peace, love, and coherence into your state of being, the mirror softens. It aligns. It becomes a sanctuary. So the question is no longer, what's out there? The real question is, what am I choosing to reflect because the mirror is waiting and it's listening? And so if life is a mirror reflecting back the essence of our inner world, then what happens when the image we project is conflicted? What if we crave freedom but internally feel caged? What if we wish for success but deep down believe we were unworthy of it? The mirror cannot lie. It simply reflects with perfect fidelity what stands before it. We cannot frown at our reflection and demand a smile. Likewise, the universe cannot reflect joy, peace, or abundance when what we emanate is fear, doubt, or lack. This is the profound challenge many of us face on the path to self-realization. We strive for freedom, yet feel bound. We chase after happiness, yet carry pain. And in this friction between desire and reality, we often feel powerless. But this struggle, far from being a failure, can become a powerful turning point, a gateway, because it's in these moments of tension, of internal conflict, that we are invited to look deeper, to question not just the world, but ourselves. Thinkers like Neville Goddard and others in the lineage of metaphysical philosophy offer a striking perspective. What if our struggles, our obstacles, delays, disappointments aren't punishments from some external, selectively benevolent deity? What if they are reflections? Reflections of our state of being. Reflections of our subconscious assumptions about who we are and what we deserve. The mirror metaphor becomes especially meaningful here. It doesn't judge. It doesn't argue. It simply reveals. When we approach it carrying the belief that life is unfair, that opportunities are scarce, or that we are somehow stuck, the reflection echoes back stagnation, limitation, and confinement. But something incredible happens when we shift that inner lens. When we start to genuinely embrace a mindset rooted in freedom, possibility, and expansion, even if nothing has changed yet on the outside, the mirror begins to reflect a new image. The world once bleak and closed off starts to open. Paths that seemed invisible before are suddenly illuminated. Doors begin to creak open. Connections form. Serendipity awakens. It's a transformation that mirrors the timeless parable from Russell Conwell's Acres of Diamonds, where a man travels far and wide searching for riches, only to later discover that the treasure he sought was buried in his own backyard all along. It's a powerful reminder that what we are looking for might already be within our reach. We simply need to look with new eyes. This dynamic, the interplay between belief and reality, is summed up beautifully in the final lines of William Ernest Henley's poem, Invictus, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. These words are not just poetic. They are a spiritual declaration. They assert that we are not passive victims of a cold universe, but active participants, creators steering the course of our own lives through the helm of perception and will. When you begin to assume the feeling of fulfillment, even before it appears in your external life, something subtle yet powerful starts to unfold. The quantum field, or the spiritual current that underlies all things, begins to respond. Reality, as it turns out, is less like a brick wall and more like soft clay. And your consciousness is the hand that shapes it. But this process goes far deeper than surface-level affirmations or shallow positivity. It requires an inner excavation, a willingness to dive into the subconscious mind, because the subconscious is the soil in which our reality grows. It absorbs the seeds of thought, belief, emotion, and over time it brings them to life. Silently, faithfully. This principle is echoed in nearly every spiritual and philosophical tradition. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So the question becomes, what are you planting? What are you nurturing consciously or unconsciously in the soil of your subconscious? If you want to experience freedom, joy, or deep fulfillment, you don't chase them outwardly. You cultivate them inwardly. And in doing so, the mirror of the world begins to shift. Your environment is not just reflecting who you are now, it's also echoing what you believe you can be. It's both a mirror and a canvas. It reflects what is, while simultaneously painting what could be. And this canvas is never finished. It's being updated moment by moment, shaped by your inner dialogue, your emotional patterns, your deepest assumptions. In this way, all aspects of your existence are deeply, inseparably interconnected. To truly transform your life, to experience lasting peace, fulfillment, and liberation, you must be willing to go within, to listen to the silent voice beneath the noise, to challenge the narratives that keep you small, to rewire the stories you've told yourself for years. Because as you do, the mirror shifts, the canvas changes, and a new reality, one that's been waiting for you all along, begins to emerge.